Hello, I am Stephanie of Creatively Miss Me. And if this is your first time visiting my channel, welcome. I am so glad you're here. And if you're an oldie but a goodie, I want to thank you for your continuing support. Now you know you're in the right place if you want to make decorating and home organization a bit easier on a budget. Now while you're here, why don't you subscribe? Give me a thumbs up and don't forget to click that notification bell because you'll be notified each time I upload something new. Now in today's video, I am participating in an open invitation collaboration. Now the title of this collaboration is the Alzheimer's Awareness Tablescape 2020. Now it is hosted by two wonderful YouTube sisters of mine, Candy of HandDesigns by CCW, and Tammy at Me, Myself, and I'm DIYing it. Now, if you haven't heard of these two ladies' channels, I will have a link to their channels along with their playlists down below in the description when it becomes available. Now, I'm going to look at my notes to make sure I get everything correct. Now, they ask you to create a tablescape using any theme, color, or style that you choose. But you must include at least one thing of purple in your tablescape because Alzheimer's awareness ribbon color is purple. It's Dementia and Alzheimer's, and it's purple. It's a purple ribbon. Now, the third thing they asked you to do was to share some info in your video regarding Alzheimer's or any other brain condition such as a traumatic brain injury. Number 5, they asked you to dedicate your video. They also ask that you follow the proper protocol for collaborations. And those rules will be listed down below in the description. And they asked you to use a hashtag. And the hashtag I'll run across the screen is hashtag Alzheimer's Awareness Tablescape 2020. And they ask that you have fun. So if you're interested in seeing what I came up with for this challenge, you know what to do. Stick around. Now, in today's video, when we talk about Alzheimer's, Alzheimer's and dementia kind of run hand in hand. So this video is dedicated to my mother. I will include a picture of my mom, and my mother's name is Cora, and Cora has dementia. Now, the things that I've noticed with her with dementia is it came on so gradually that when we finally noticed symptoms, it had been happening for years when we thought back, that we didn't pay attention to little things that could have warned us beforehand. Like she started to repeat things. And what I mean by repeat, she would have a conversation with you and say, well, you know, this morning I cooked bacon and eggs and some toast for breakfast. And I thought about cooking some hash browns, but I didn't cook them. And then she'll come back about a couple minutes or so later and she'll say, you know, this morning, I cooked breakfast this morning and I cooked bacon and eggs and toast and I cooked some hash browns. She'll repeat it again. Now, the first time I noticed that, she did it a couple of times and I just thought nothing of it. But then I noticed that she started repeating more during the day. It just wasn't at one time. It was several more times during the day she started repeating things. So I asked my father, how long has she been doing that? And he was like, doing what? Because again, it comes on so gradually that you kind of just get used to people doing certain things that you don't notice that it's maybe something wrong with them health-wise. So I took my mom to the doctor and I talked to her doctor and I said, look, I need some tests ran to see if my mom has Alzheimer's or dementia. Something is going on and we need to know what it is so we know what we have to do about that incident. So her doctor asked her questions and she could answer, you know, questions like her name, her birthday, where she was born, her address. She could do that at that time. But they noticed when they ran a CAT scan that she had a pocket of fluid about this big on her brain at the top. So they said what they were going to do was give her medication to dry it up. But as they gave her the medication to get rid of the fluid, now the fluid did come down to about the size, I want to say, of a peanut. an almond, something like that size. And so it hasn't increased in size, but it hasn't decreased anymore either. But we started noticing more and more that her short-term memory was disappearing. She couldn't remember things. And today my mom slips back into 1966, 67, when my father and her first got married and they moved to New Mexico. She doesn't remember moving to Houston. She doesn't remember living in Ennis, our hometown, or when they moved, because my father was a minister. Well, he is a minister, and he pastored a church in a town called Haskell and one called Sweetwater. And she doesn't remember living in those towns. She doesn't even remember the first church he pastored. So as time goes by, she forgets more and more, but then sometimes she'll come back and she'll remember us, who we are, and then it can be an hour or so later and she doesn't know who we are. So there are little subtle things you see, but if you need to be more aware of certain things. And I think that if we'd have been aware of it and not watching it progress so slowly, we'd have been better prepared. Because as we thought back, this started happening almost 3 years before we noticed it. Maybe 4, maybe 5, up to 5 years before we noticed it. But what brought my mom's dementia on was her doctor told her when she found out she had lupus that she was going to have dementia. And he told her this in 1980, I think it may have been 1982, somewhere from there. But she didn't tell us until about 2000 that the doctor said it's a possibility she would have dementia. So if we didn't know that at the beginning, we probably would have been a little bit better prepared to see her memory, go away as it is now. But dementia and Alzheimer's, they are very hard on the family because you have to watch your family member go down. And this camera is not on Pepsi. As you watch them go down, it's a little hard-hardening, but you have to just swallow that and keep going because it's not of them, it's something that happened to them. And this is not something they're doing on purpose, forgetting your name, forgetting who you are, not wanting to go anywhere because they don't remember where they are. That is not intentional, and you have to remember that. And you have to work around it to make them feel comfortable. So, enough of me babbling. Now, I did a beautiful tablescape, and my tablescape, I did it to represent my mom. My mom was a little, I want to say, purple is royalty. So she's a little queen and she's extra girly. So my table is for the queen that's girly. So I hope you enjoy my tablescape. Never stop exploring. There's always something new on that very last screen. Now, as you saw, all settings are the same. So what I did was I took my purple napkin and made it look like the symbol for the ribbon for autism. Now, the purple placemat came from Pier 1 on clearance. The silver charger is a DIY. The white plate came from the Dollar Tree. The little saucer, that was a thrift find. I forgot I had it. And then the two Z Gallery Dew glasses, of course, they came from Ross. Now in the middle, I made a runner out of some bling wrap that I have. And then I used the 3 dupe Z Gallery candle holders. I put purple voltage cups in the large and the medium one. And then a floating purple candle flower in the smaller one. I really had fun coming up with this concept and making it girly and bling for Cora. So I hope you enjoy this tablescape.